East Pro here from Discord, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. That's what you can follow me on. Let's go over some GLC stuff, some standard stuff. Uh, Bochum over in Germany, they had Lugia win, of course. 5 of the top 8 was different decks, so pretty good variety there. Knoxville, Lugia won against the Eternus deck, which I think we all knew Eternus deck was pretty good, and kind of excited to see a new face up there in the top 8. And 7 of the top 8 was completely different decks, which is really good. Good variety right now. Unfortunately, I know we're all kind of bored of the current meta. We're all tired of seeing Lugia win, and hopefully that'll change soon. Uh, just over a month, and Scarlet and Violet will be out, and it'll be legal. So it's exciting. And then I'm excited to finally get done my vacation at the end of next month and be able to jump into tournaments myself. I've been having still recent success doing GLC at my locals. I did win the other week with water finally, so that makes 6 types that we have now at my locals that I've won with. I've won with lightning, psychic, colorless, fire, water, and dark. And dark has been proven to be very successful on the online tournaments, on the Cardboard Warriors tournaments every Wednesday. Dark, colorless, they've been up there. Very strong types right now. Obviously with Scarlet and Violet, we're going to see metal become better. So at my locals, I want to try to still get wins with the other types before metal comes out. The River Room to make metal even better. So last week I played Dragon. I went 2-2. My friend, he went with his Dragon list. He was only a handful of cards different. He ended up winning the whole thing. We actually had a really good turnout. A lot of new faces, people who were experienced in playing, and it was good. It was a good turnout for GLC last week. And my friend, he usually works on the Thursdays that we have our locals. So it was good to see a new face get in there and go and win our locals. And like I said, he won with his Dragon deck, and his deck was only a handful of cards different than mine. My other friend, he was down in Knoxville this past week. He did run Big Bolt. He ran, instead of the Aerodactyl, ran the 2 extra paths. And I don't think it was a bad call. I think it was a good meta call. He said he went 5-4. I knew he started off a little bit bad, but he won all the Lugia matchups. So, I mean, what are you going to do? He did beat a Mew, Lugia, and one person was a no-show. He lost to 1 Mew, a Lost Box, and a Reggie's, and I'm not sure what his other loss was. But needless to say, he started out bad and then came back, went undefeated against the most popular deck. So that's the goal of that deck, though. Vigable, obviously, it did have some success. It had 6 in the top 32, 1 in the top 8. So Vigable is definitely a good, solid counter deck to the current meta. Other than that, I mean, what else are you going to do? We've seen some Gudra, Rayquaza, different type of Lasso box builds. I have my own personal one. I've been doing very good at my locals with it. It's a very fun deck. I won't show it though, not yet anyways, because my friend, he's going to Fort Wayne, so hopefully it'll be a deck that will get played before rotation, because it has to be. It's actually one of those decks that need those quick balls and the scoops, so it does have to be played before rotation. So I think Fort Wayne's like the last regional that can be played at. So I'm hoping my friend does kind of tweak the list with me, and he does run it. I think it's a very surprising deck. I think it'll kind of blow the current meta out of the water, because it kind of has an answer to everything. And it's a very fast deck. Obviously, you have to be very fast deck or complete control in the current standard. So let's go over the my GLC water list. Hang on this, yeah. So this is the deck I won my locals with. Pretty straightforward with the Intellion line, the Blastoise, the Wailord. I use Melodic instead of Frostmoth. I like the choice, the Energy Excel. I did kind of want to, add Battle Compressor in here, but there's multiple ways to discard energy into the discard, so it still will help either way. October is obviously a must. Starmie's obviously a must with the Blastoise. Wailord speaks for itself along with Kyogre. Articuno is kind of like my turn one active to try to prevent any boss up of these guys on the bench. Manaphy, my locals, some of them do like to run spread decks, so I included the Manaphy in my list. I think that's a card that's more of a meta call, and more so like as far as like what you would want to decide. I did stream my local finals with this deck, and I was able to beat a Psychic spread deck. If you guys watched that video, you'll know that Manaphy helped, and Training Center was a huge stadium. Nobody ever uses Training Center. I looked at it and I was like, well, yeah, I'm running a bunch of evolutions. Why not run it? I know like the 90 HP October, the Blastoise, the 90 HP Starmie, Drizzile. Those are huge numbers, and those are a lot of numbers that people look at to aim for on bench Pokemon. So I thought the Training Center was a great add. Obviously, Brickle Hill to help accelerate. We got our basic. We got the recycle and the splash energy here for the Wayward and to help keep the energy going. Supporters, we have our setup: Bridget, Gloria, Irida, Ball Guy, Boss, Guzma, Marnie, Tantaliza for draw. I added in Gladion just because of the amount of times where you're looking for a rare candy, looking for a Warthoro. You don't want to miss that beat. So I did add the Gladion for that. Crasher Waker, pretty self-explanatory. It could be really good early game. It could be a really good late game with the Starmie. It's just easy way to search out cards. Kind of makes up the fact of like not having a teammate or a Raihan. Nessa, obviously very good. And water, always a must-have. We have our ball searches, 6 of them, because we want plenty of options. Plus, you need to run quick and Ultra Ball with the October. Helps thin down the hand. And like I said, you can always discard the water, Crasher Waker, Starmie, always giving you options for the Melodic. Bucket and Letter to help get even more energy to the hand faster to even search out for what you need or to discard them. Field Blower, obviously pretty self-explanatory. I know a lot of GLC decks, they've been questioning about Field Blower, but Field Blower to me is very pivotal still in water because you want to be able to have control, especially if you're trying to knock out stuff with the Inteleon, which hits for like 120 and doing bench damage, or the Kyogre that does 180. Any of those tools on those Pokemon can prevent that. Trainer's Mail, help accelerate. Scoop for mostly the Inteleon, but I mean, if you have to use Scoop to get something out of the active, that's always not a bad choice either. And this deck is just a lot of fun. I think this water build, along with kind of the fire build, I just kept it pretty consistent. I think that's like as best as you're gonna almost do with these style decks with water and fire. But the water is, of course, like more straightforward, more consistent. It's definitely powerful. It has powerful attackers, and I think that this deck was a lot of fun to play. I liked my matchups. Round one, I beat Dark. Not like the normal Dark build, a little different, but I ended up beating Dark round one. Round two, I did beat a Fire Mill deck, and actually that deck ended up finishing second this past week. So it's a legit Fire Mill deck. And third round, I ended up streaming, like I said, and that was against a Psychic spread deck. So, and I know Nate, he's been playing a Psychic spread deck for a while now. He's very experienced with it. It was a very tough matchup if you watched the way how the game played out. He basically had me. I had to Versus Seeker for Hex to stop his Dusknoir, and to stop his psychic recharge in order to get another turn. He ended up taking the knockout on, was it my Kyogre? It was one of my attackers. He took one of the knockouts on one of my attackers, and I had Boss in hand, and I basically put Articuno up to the active and bossed up a Pumpkaboo for the game. So it was a very good game. He had the Pumpkaboo down early. I never thought it was going to still be there on the bench, honestly. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys have been playing GLC at regionals. I would like to know what everybody's running, what you've had success with. Um, so I'm very excited to still try to get that locals win with Dragon. I'm going to refine my list a little bit and try to aim to win with Dragon this week again. After that, I definitely want to try to get fighting before rotation. I think fighting is definitely in a good position right now to make some noise, especially before metal gets better, because metal is very strong, especially if you make it faster. It's going to be because metal has the ability to punch out a lot of the fighting Pokemon, and a lot of the fighting Pokemon are already bulky. So I think it'd be very good to get that in. And then I'm going to work on my grass build, either control grass or an aggro build. I'm going to try my control grass deck one more time though. It had really good success the first time, so I can't complain. And like I said, I think it's my second favorite type to play. And then once when I get those wins, then we'll worry about metal. Because with Room, metal's only going to get better. So not going to force getting metal in there before Scarlet and Violet. And then very excited for Scarlet and Violet and to see where the regionals and everything else goes from there. I know Triple Beats came out in Japan. A lot of, I shouldn't say interesting. I mean, obviously they're calming down the current meta, so it's still pretty close to what we saw in Scarlet and Violet. But we're seeing some cool stage twos that could be possible for GLC, and that kind of makes sense because of the way how the set name is. But we'll see if they're going to be viable in GLC because a lot of stage two Pokemon don't get played in GLC. They would have to be like really really good because as you guys know, it's hard to be that consistent and to always go after stage twos in a certain type. So very excited to see what lies ahead. I think Triple Beats might be in the base Scarlet and Violet set for America. Um, that'd be really cool if it is. If it's not, then that's always fine too. I just wish we weren't like 2 months behind compared to Japan. It's a good 2-3 months, so that's a big gap. Um, and I'll definitely be at Hartford, Connecticut, and NIIC. So that's my game plan for standard GLC. I'll have a good amount of time to basically practice a lot of the current meta, and very excited to see what I come up with, and hope to see some of you guys there, and hopefully sign some of my GLC decks and cards. So that'd be cool. All right, let me know what you guys have been working on, what you guys want to cook with. If you guys have any recommendations, if you guys want to see anything else from me as far as content decks, I'm very excited to keep this grind going, try to win with all 10 types at my locals. And like I said, 6 down, 4 to go. I think we're in the right. Let me talk about my run with Dragon though. So I went 2-2. The first game though, I went up against Rain Dance. As you know, as you see by this build, water Rain Dance. It's very consistent. Ended up drawing pretty bad, and just couldn't make up for it. Basically, he had one prize left, and I like drew like my fourth or fifth energy that game. So I had absolutely no like energy at all, which is crazy to me because I run 11 on that deck, and I was like halfway through the deck at that point. And then my other loss was against Carlos. This guy was so lucky. He went first, had Pokemon Research Lab already in hand, got out Archon, and already had the Archeops in his hand. So there was nothing I could do to pretty much stop that. He didn't even use any draw at all, any draw supporter or any draw Pokemon, and basically just set up and started swinging right away with the Aerodactyl, and basically just took knockout after knockout. So, and I was like done by like turn three because of it. So yeah, not much I could do about that. That was just like the ultimate draw for Carlos. So I think he only ended up, I want to say 2-2 also, and same thing with the Rain Dance. So it was kind of just unfortunate that I ended up getting those two losses and having bad draws or bad luck. But I don't think so. I don't think my Dragon deck is bad in this sense. I think it's still right there. It just needs the couple other cards to probably make it a little bit more consistent, and hopefully we'll get the win this Thursday with it. So, um, other than my friend going to Fort Wayne, I don't think anybody else is going out of my group to any other tournaments. I know we're all just kind of excited to go to Hartford. I know all of us were not really playing like competitively like that this season. I think next season more of us will be um, inclined to do that. A lot of us out of like our group, there's like 7, 8 of us. I know 5 or 6 of us. We just started like within the last year, so a lot of us learned a lot from last year into this year. So we're the ones that are going to be looking for that little bit more experience and then trying to make a run more next year. So I'm very excited for that. Peace.